San Francisco. And it wasn't until today that they were able to open. But check this out. Government workers in the city were allowed to use the gyms in their buildings this whole time. So when private business owners called out the hypocrisy, the city temporarily shut down the government gyms last Thursday. But with just in hours, the mayor all of a sudden announced that gyms and other businesses could open up today. Well, joining us now is Danielle Rabikin, who is the owner of CrossFit Golden Gate. Danielle, good to have you.
Hi there.
So Danielle, the thing that I think is interesting is that it was almost like until people found out that the government employees had their own special side deal, that everything was hunky-dory. And then once that got exposed, they said, okay, all of you can open. Don't you think that seems a bit fishy?
Absolutely. It's the first accelerated reopening that we've had here in San Francisco. The mayor and the Department of Public Health have been very slow to reopen the city, even when the city meets state criteria to do so. So gyms have actually been allowed for quite a bit of time by the state, but the city has chosen to keep them closed. As soon as it was exposed that those city gyms were open, it was pretty unbelievable.
Yeah.
They immediately shut them back down and then announced that gyms could reopen within 3 days.
Crazy, huh? It looks like a little bit of a double standard there. But the question is, did they give you any guidance, or did that once they got caught, they just flipped the switch and said, okay, you can open?
It was pretty amazing. After I discovered that those gyms had been open, I was emailing my supervisor's office. I was emailing a city attorney for 2 weeks, pushing for answers. Does this mean I can open? Can I have a special inspection by Cal OSHA as well? What are the implications of this? I didn't hear back with any word whatsoever until it was announced that those gyms would be closing and we would be reopening. I had no idea that was coming down the pipeline.
So did you open today?
I did reopen indoors today.
And what was the response?
Well, we've been operating on the sidewalk for a couple weeks now, and people are really happy to get out of the smoky air and be able to come indoors. We have a pretty low prevalence of COVID here in San Francisco. Our positivity rate is somewhere around 2%. So I think people feel safe and ready to come back inside. We're allowing for ample social distance, well over 12 feet. Masks are required. I think people are really ready to start living their lives and getting back into the gym.
So what is the percentage of capacity that you're allowed at operating? And did they tell you this on Friday? I mean, when they flipped the switch, once you guys found out all the government guys could go to their gym, when they flipped this switch, did they give you guidance on how you had to open in terms of what capacity you could allow?
It's a great question. There were no directives prepared. I didn't receive any directives until this morning, the day we were reopening, which is unbelievable. These guys have had 6 months to have something prepared to give us. So clearly they had not planned, not been ready for this, kind of left us to our own devices to decide what was safe and healthy for our people, which is actually fine by me because they clearly are not guided by science. And I feel like I can decide what is safe for my people, ample distance, masking, all of that. So this morning I received the guidance published by the city.
Well, glad that you're able to reopen. I don't want to make this too political, but we're in a political year. Do you think that all the measures that have been in place and the double standard that we're kind of seeing there, that this is going to have an effect on how people vote in November?
I really don't know. San Francisco is kind of unique in its political environment. So it's hard for me to say how people will be influenced one way or another. I think it will have much more of an effect on the local elections for sure. I think that the local officials should be pretty scared. They've really harmed small business owners like myself. My business has been devastated. I've spent 8 years building this gym and I'm starting from scratch now. It's unbelievable to me. I'm on the hook for so much rent. It's really scary.
Which I can't imagine is cheap there in San Francisco. Yeah. I lived there for a while and nothing's cheap there.
Nothing is cheap. Not only that, but because so many people are fed up with the city, there's been a huge mass exodus. If people are going to be working from home, they want more space, they want cheaper rent, they want cleaner streets, they want things that are open. So much of my membership is gone. Reopening today doesn't mean that I have a flood of people coming in today. It's really as
Well, Daniel, thank you for being here, and best of luck out there with the fires and opening back up. All right, well, Sean and I will be right back with our thoughts on some of today's top stories.